Hi, and welcome to a brand new devlog. It's been a while since I set foot here, but I do believe that I ended the last devlog saying that I'm already working on my next project, which at the time I was. But it's not this one. I tried a few ideas, and while working on some prototypes, I once again fell into the bad habit of looking into the most profitable indie games instead of just following my heart, which I always do, despite promising myself I shouldn't. Turns out, simulators are doing great, and the developers are taking the most tedious, ordinary tasks and somehow making them fun and rewarding. I ended up working on a simple, cozy cafe simulator, and while I couldn't make any of the tasks compelling and rewarding enough, I did enjoy moving the blocky furniture on a grid. Look, I love Lego, and I love Minecraft. There's just something satisfying about the simplicity of blocks. So, why not make a game about that instead? A game that is simply just moving and placing blocks. Too many times to count have I already taken a step back to think about what would make the game a success. A few times have I even considered leaving this project behind and do something that might gain any sort of popularity. But I didn't, and I'm once again making a game that I want to play. I enjoy placing blocks, creating something out of nothing, and that is basically the premise of the game. It's something to pick up when you have 15 minutes to kill, or when you want to get all cozy, snuggled up in a blanket and just place blocks for an evening. There might be bits and pieces of lore scattered around the world you're creating and exploring, but the game won't be accepting any awards for its riveting story. But I love it, it plays beautifully and the code is some of the best I've ever written. However, I still find myself constantly justifying myself, like I need to explain why the game is what it is, somehow defend my choices. It's almost like I'm apologizing for its existence in a way. And I get that it's not for everyone. It probably won't satisfy hardcore gamers playing competitive shooters, but it doesn't matter, because I found the joy in being creative again. It took me a while to get to this realization, but if you enjoy placing blocks, you might enjoy this game. And if not, you might not enjoy this game at all. And it's fine. The game is still very early in production, but let's do a walkthrough. As you can see, the blocks come in different heights. For now, I have chosen to limit myself to 3. Quarter blocks, half blocks and full blocks. And of course 4 quarter blocks equal a full block in height, as does 2 half blocks. This was a design choice I made early on, but it might change in the future. What do you think? Is 3 heights enough, or should I add more? I mean, a tree could be a block and a half tall, or even 2 blocks. Oh well, I will figure that one out when I can't fit blocks into these constraints anymore. Now, while most of these blocks are simply decorative, some of them can be interacted with. I've been playing around with a few prototype blocks, and these are what I have now. Keep in mind that the visuals for these are purely for testing, and they won't look like this in a final version. I'm really trying to greybox this out first, make the gameplay feel right before considering the visuals. So, let's start with my spawner block, since I'm not even sure if this will be in the final game. What it does, really, is that it just spawns a block when clicked on. I have yet to decide how the player will get their blocks, but I want to avoid the usual resource gathering, since this isn't that kind of game. So, until decided, you click on the spawner and you get a block. During development, you can also spawn blocks through my custom dev console, but that probably won't make it into the final version. Now, the storage system, which I'm quite happy with. This is what I call a storage block. Let's imagine that this is a chest. When I drop a block on it, it opens up, accepts the block, and closes itself with an animation. If there are no available slots, it spits the extra blocks out. Taking out blocks is also simple, just drag an item out of here. If you just drag and let go, the block spawns where you drop it. But if you drag the block out and keep it there, the chest closes itself. I wanted this to feel as close as possible to actually picking up a block from the chest, while still using UI elements to show its contents. It feels somewhat intuitive, and I think this might be the way to go once I add some visuals and feedback. Now, this is a chrono block. It essentially runs a timer, and when the timer is done, interacting with the block gives you a new block. The idea for this comes from the phrase time is money, meaning you give the block your time and in return it gives you a reward. I have a category of blocks I call exchange blocks, meaning you give it a block and in return it gives you something else. In contrast to the chrono blocks that only want your time, these require a block. I have this altar block that accepts an offering, any of the blocks defined in the input list, and spits out a reward from the list of the outputs, randomly based on weight. The gacha block is similar, but it accepts coins or tokens. And here we have the recycler block. The idea is that you recycle blocks you don't need, and it gives you something in return. I'm just not sure what yet. These blocks are very similar now in their actions, as in you give them something to get something in return. Hopefully they will all make sense in the actual game. There's the plant block that starts growing if you put it on a dirt block. The idea is that you plant something, wait for it to grow, and then harvest. And there will be light blocks as well, to illuminate your world. And you will, of course, be able to interact with them. So, this has been a brief introduction to a sort of untitled project. It used to be called Cozy Island, then Cozy Cove, and now it's just, a game about placing blocks. I'm also preparing a build of the game that will go out for you to test. I will probably upload a version on itch.io, but that will be for another video. Any feedback is always welcome. Any blocks you'd like to decorate with or interact with, just let me know and I will try to make it happen. Again, just a brief introduction and it won't take as long for the next one to come out. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.